Liz Bonus, we begin with this heartbreaking news. Our beloved friend and former co-worker, John Lomax, has passed away. Many of you know that John began his career here as a reporter in 1983, primarily covering Northern Kentucky. In 1990, he took over as co-anchor of the Good Morning Cincinnati program alongside our loved Cami Deerking. After 39 years, John retired on April 29, 2022. That date was proclaimed John Lomax Day in Hamilton County.
That the Board of County Commissioners of Hamilton County, Ohio, does hereby proclaim the 29th day of April 2022 as John Lomax Day in Hamilton County.
And of course, that's just one day that was designated for the godfather of Cincinnati. On November 25th in 2015, former Mayor John Cranley proclaimed that day as John Lomax Day in the city of Cincinnati. While all John's family is surrounding him, I have something very special to present to John. It's a proclamation, and now normally proclamations are boring and they're long, and isn't it good? This one's hilarious and it's short, so if you don't mind, I'm going to read it, okay?
Okay.
I think you'll like it. I got to put on my old lady specs. It's not like the old days.
Okay.
You know. Okay. Be it proclaimed, whereas John Lomax joined WKRC-TV in 1983 when gasoline cost $1.25 a gallon, postage stamps 20 cents, and Ronald Reagan was president. And whereas John Lomax has covered numerous major news stories at the local, state, and federal levels during the intervening years, including anchoring at Local 12 during the 2001 civil unrest, the September 11th terrorist attacks. Remember, we were down at Fountain Square. The Bengals playing in the Super Bowl and the Reds winning the World Series. And whereas John Lomax has been a steady presence in anchoring Good Morning Cincinnati, as co-anchors have come and gone, self-included. Whereas John Lomax has served as a friend and mentor to countless co-workers who call him the Godfather. And whereas John Lomax has become a trusted news source to generations of people in the tri-state during the past 3 decades. Now, therefore, I, John Cranley, the mayor of Cincinnati, do hereby proclaim November 25th, 2015 as John Lomax Day in Cincinnati. And of course, our Cami Deerking is sharing there. And you'll recognize Local 12's John Gum. Of course, he's now on our evening news, but he actually started on Good Morning Cincinnati. He shared the impact that John Lomax had on him with our Paula Tony and Kyle Linsky.
And John was like one of the leaders of our family. We called him the Godfather.
For good reason.
For good reason. As Bob said, he was a fatherly figure to so many of us here. Just a man filled with so much wisdom, so incredibly intelligent. He was a National Merit Scholar, you know, and we talked about that. He was just one of these extraordinary human beings that no matter what your problem was, no matter what piece of advice you needed, he had an answer. And I'm going to tell you guys, when you see your friends, hug your friends, tell them you love them. That was opening day.
Look at that. We remember that so well.
I didn't work with him nearly as long as either of you did, but this is the memory that I think will stay with me forever, because it was his last opening day. And everyone knew that he was retiring maybe less than a month after this. And when we stepped off from Finley Market until the end of that parade, it was like he was the only person on the route. Good luck in retirement, John. Thank you so much. And I think that was the thing that was really touching, was that people were saying thank you for all of your years of service.
And part of John's legacy lives on through the causes that he helped champion, as our Local 12's Bob Herzog and Jen Dalton were quick to point out on Good Morning Cincinnati.
He used his voice to help so many people. We wanted to highlight some of those organizations that John Lomax held dear.
We start with the Nuxall Miracle League. John attended the organization's Nuxie Bash countless times, served as the Miracle League's opening day Grand Marshal back in 2022. The Miracle League helps people with special abilities experience the fun and joy of baseball and just so much more. When asked about the Miracle League, John had this to say, quote, "I can't think of a story with more impact and as inspiring than the one that has been written at the Joe Nuxall Miracle Fields. I've seen hope, dreams, and community in action every time I've gone there."
John Lomax also served as Master of Ceremonies at the dedication of the Northern Kentucky 9/11 Memorial. It's located at the Crescent Springs Memorial Park. John was on the air that fateful morning with his longtime co-anchor Cammie Dearking on 9/11. On that morning, they made a pledge. That's when it was that they would never see each other without saying, "I love you."
John was also a fierce supporter of the American Heart Association. Done countless promotional spots, especially for the Heart Mini Marathon. John was a stroke survivor and considered promoting heart health an important part of his work in the community. Quick story about John Lomax before we move to the next thing. John Lomax came to work the day after he had a stroke. Just to kind of put it in perspective, John Lomax, that kind of,
Yep.
yeah.
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 Yep.
So John was a friend, I'm sorry, Jen. John was a friend to St. Henry High School in Erlanger. For many years, he hosted the alumni fundraising dinner held each year at receptions.
Yeah, John was known for joking with the crowd. Not surprising to me. He especially liked playing the heads or tails game with the alumni, where someone won a prize, someone was booted. And this is when I worked with Lomax on. Lomax was also an animal lover. For years, he helped co-host the SPCA's Pet Telethon and made appearances at the Fur Ball. John had so much love. He had so many dogs of his. I remember Johnny Cash. There's Snoop Dogg. At one point, I think he had 5 or 6 dogs. Then sometimes they'd have the kids' dogs over. There'd be like 7 dogs. But he was a big animal lover.
And we know that there are just bunches and bunches of other organizations that are special causes for which John spent time serving over the years, and we know what an impact he had on the community. And you know, to the degree that we're able, we all try to emulate his example. I mean, that's sort of a universal thing in so many different ways with
Sure.
John.
Good afternoon, everyone. Not only did John Lomax do so much for the tri-state and those charities and good causes, he was welcomed into the homes across Greater Cincinnati. He became part of many families' morning routines, a beloved guest at the breakfast table. And because he was so loved, tributes like these continue to pour in, and the kind words continue to come in from social media. People are sharing stories about meeting John and some of the iconic events that have happened in Cincinnati during his career here at Local 12. They're sharing pictures of him when they got to meet him in person at the many charity and other community events that John was a part of. Cincinnati music icon Bootsy Collins shared this message on X, saying prayers go out to his family and friends. Thanks for always giving your best and embracing all which equals one. Rest in peace, our brother. Other Cincinnati TV legends are also sharing their thoughts and prayers. WLWT anchor and reporter Curtis Fuller shared this tweet saying he was heartbroken by the news of John's passing. He says he was a good man and Cincinnati broadcast legend. And on a personal note, I was lucky enough to meet John years ago before I ever got into television news. I actually went to school with his daughter and met him when I was in elementary school. He was kind and friendly back then and continued to be just that to everyone he met. He will truly be missed. Liz, back to you.
That's very sweet, Christian, and Lindsay is just a reflection of him and her heart and soul. We love you guys. We're so glad that you're in our family. The outpouring of affection, of course, and the sharing of memories from all of you is a major source of comfort for John and his family and for all of us here at Local 12. We want to tell you how much we appreciate it. We will have more of these reflections on John's life throughout the day. His impact on Greater Cincinnati throughout our newscast is evident, but we're going to continue that on Local 12 News beginning first at 4.